Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I'm joined by my crypto bro on this show, the one and only Zesta. Hello, how you doing? What's new with you?
Oh, I am doing well, Paul. Doing very well. It's been busy for certain, but nothing to complain about. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm doing very well, very well. Enjoying the last couple of weeks of crypto news. We've had some spectacular stuff out there, and as we always say, the price doesn't reflect the actual news that's coming out. I mean, just now we've only just with XRP clawed back up above $3. Who would have thought? It's a weird time as it's always been for quite a while now, but we're going to try and make some sense of it in the stories we've got to show.
Hmm. Ah, sounds good. Sounds good, Paul. Especially with all the economic data coming out right now. There's so much coming against crypto that's not crypto related.
The fact that there's so much hype with crypto as well at the moment, and I mean big moves, which we'll show in a minute, none of the prices are reflecting it. It's It's crazy. It's almost like they don't want to allow the good news to influence price. So they do the total opposite to keep crypto down. It's a strange one, that, and I still can't wrap
Well,
my head around it.
what's the saying on that one? Buy the rumor, sell the news. And that's an old market quote, but it seems as if crypto has kind of taken that from the traditional stock market and really epitomized it. Because yes, rumors, prices skyrocket. Actual hard concrete facts, amazing news, great information, totally opens up the landscape for future growth. Everybody gets a little hesitant.
Oh, don't they just? Right, well, let's dive into our first story and see where it takes us. So, the first story of the day, the biggest one of the last 2 weeks, I personally think, President Trump and his sons stake in a crypto firm is now worth $5 billion. Now, we've been talking about WLFI since Christmas, and we couldn't work out what the game plan is or what the end game is. But now we're seeing they've gone public with it and they've had an absolute truckload of money come in, and they're now sitting there with this big pot of money. What they're going to do with it, I don't know. What are your thoughts on this, Sesta?
It's tough because they're working in so many different directions. Because even the 5 billion honestly may be a low estimate. It's definitely there's definitely a lot of takeaway from what the Trump family has been doing. And so they have, in terms of World Liberty Financial is supposedly focused, and I use the word supposedly because this is a much larger deal than just World Liberty. They have got 4 or 5 different current ongoing business endeavors in cryptocurrency, and I'm probably not counting a few. But World Liberty Financial is focused on decentralized finance, at least the way that they have presented it is that they're going to be providing loans, they're going to be providing liquidity and credit lines and things like that via the blockchain on World Liberty Financial, as well as a decentralized exchange to trade back and forth between different cryptocurrencies. Then they have Trump Social. Trump Social just managed a partnership up with Gemini in order to start bringing out ETFs. Where did that kind of come into the entire idea? And so they're working decentralized finance, they're working traditional finance through Trump social media in that endeavor, but they're also buying up, and we covered this way back when they were buying up centralized exchanges through Trump social media group. And so it really does appear that they are planning on a genuine one-stop shop all the way from you deciding, hey, I've got $1 in my pocket. I would like crypto. They want to cater for absolutely everything from the process of you taking that dollar and putting it into crypto all the way through. They're ready for the new financial system. And I think that the Trump family is. I do get a little disgusted by the dollar figures that they've brought in on account of it, but jealousy is jealousy. I just wish I had a portion of it.
Most definitely. And, just glad you brought up about Truth Social because that leads us straight into our next story. So, on Truth Social, they have rewards called gems. Now, there was a lot of chat about what was going to happen to these gems. They didn't really know what to do with them on Trump's Truth Social, sorry. So they've now partnered with crypto.com and you can now convert your gems into Kronos. Now, I don't know the full ins and outs of it, but we'll just have a quick scroll down. Trump Media and Technology Group has updated its Truth Social platform to connect its digital rewards program with cryptocurrency. This is very exciting because I think we're going to start seeing more and more traditional reward programs disappear by the roadside. And quite frankly, I'd have crypto any day of the week as a reward rather than gems. Gems don't really do it for me, but a crypto that is actually part of crypto.com,
Mm-hmm.
that tempts me. That makes me want to collect them. What are your thoughts?
Well, the crypto.com partnership in and of itself, well, that one was another completely unexpected move. That means that Trump is currently, if we were to just kind of take this and throw everything to the wayside, Trump is currently only holding a strategic reserve of Crow. They have got a multi-billion-dollar strategic reserve of Crow, and they designed their investment in crypto.com to mimic Michael Saylor and MicroStrategies. And that was intentionally designed. They said publicly, oh, we want it to be a strategic reserve in the same way that Michael Saylor is with Bitcoin. Why? Why did they choose crypto.com? And for those that are not aware, crypto.com has their own blockchain. It's called the Kronos network, I believe, and it's powered by Kronos. That's the CRO token symbol that you'll regularly see in the articles and etc. about Trump. Trump owns this much Crow. That is Kronos, named after the Greek god of time, the Greek titan of time. I should make certain to be specific because he wasn't a god, he was a titan. The titans apparently birthed the gods. I don't know. A whole other little, whole other caveat on that side. But it's a multi-billion-dollar strategic reserve, a partnership with crypto.com, and it's very reminiscent, essentially, of almost like Binance in terms of how crypto.com operates, because Binance has the same idea with BNB, which you'll regularly see in the fourth or fifth slot in terms of the highest ranking cryptocurrencies on the planet. It seems as if the Trump family has kind of placed their sway, their weight behind crypto.com as becoming the ultimate US purveyor of centralized exchange services. Not expected on my side at all.
No, I wasn't expecting him to go so deep in with that. But then likewise, they've got their fingers in a few pots. They're not giving a huge amount of way. Now, I'm sitting here thinking it's anyone's game in crypto at the moment. We were just talking off air that there's not one crypto that has come out on top and everyone is flocking to it like it's going out of fashion. We're still in that race where nobody knows which crypto is going to come out of it and win, hands down. I just interviewed a guy today who is massive in Bitcoin Satoshi's vision, which is BSV, and he's saying this is Bitcoin in its rawest form. The Bitcoin we've got today, BTC, is centralized, taken over, whatever you want to call it. So it's anyone's game in the crypto world. All we can do is do our research, dig into things, and understand as much information as we can. Now, I'm going to take us on to our next story, which is the US SEC Crypto Task Force. to tackle financial surveillance and privacy. The task force has already conducted roundtables to address issues related to digital asset regulation while proposing changes to the Commission's rules. Now, I was not expecting the SEC still to have a big foothold in crypto. I genuinely thought that they were going to set up a whole new division, task force, whatever you want to call it, to handle crypto because it is a totally different beast. And yes, you have stable coins, which by all means conform to the regular rules, but everything else, it's a new Wild West.
Mhm. And well, we've seen positive news come out of the SEC now that it is more crypto friendly. At least particularly in terms to ensuring that crypto is valued as a collateral, but also, and I think one of the most interesting announcements from the SEC, and we're starting to see it come into realization, is that the SEC has gone ahead and committed to putting all of the economic data of the United States onto the blockchain. And so the SEC and the federal government have actually partnered with Chainlink in order to start providing all data from the United States economy onto the blockchain. And we are. That is extremely exciting because it's immutable. We no longer have that general idea of, well, the numbers could be fudged, the numbers could be changed, etc., etc. And we're seeing the SEC push for the idea of tokenization of everything. And this was announced a couple weeks back. In regards to, I believe it was one of the same announcements, or at least when they announced that they were going to be having these conversations, that they are not only going to start bringing that data onto the blockchain, but that the SEC would like to kind of, I guess, spearhead the idea of going ahead and bringing everything into tokenization. And I think that this one is, well, the SEC, the CFTC, and this is definitely an American thing, our regulatory bodies are trying to ensure that they stay alive. And so I think that the SEC in this case is trying to figure out what it's going to do in the new financial system. And that's really what they're trying to set out. It's like, hey, wait a second. We want to exist. We have jobs. There's a lot of people that work here. We would like to keep those jobs. And that means we need to find something for these people to do. And I think that the SEC is currently exploring its options. They have broken up with their longtime wife, and they are now on the market looking for the new stepmom, I guess, at the moment. And I think the SEC is kind of trying to wrangle in the idea of tokenization as being their future goal, what they're looking towards. But I'm not certain. There could be something else going on. What do you think, Paul?
I don't know, but as we know, after seeing the cases that have come about in crypto by the SEC, they don't really know what they're doing. They really don't know which way to angle their guns, their friendship, you name it. Because as Brad Garlinghouse said out loud many times, he wanted, well, Ripple worked with the SEC. They asked for permission. They asked for yes, no, maybes. And then the SEC still sued them. So you can see it is a mess in there. You're absolutely right. They're trying to find their way through this new quagmire. That is a whole new financial system that is coming our way at a great speed. It's not slow anymore. It's at a great speed. Now, I'm going to throw a funnier story into the mix, and I'm going to let you tell us about this one, Zesta.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. Yep. Doge. Doge is going to be the first meme coin that manages to achieve its own ETF, which is, well, both, I guess, exciting for all Doge holders, but also saddening for the state of humanity. Because we're going to see a meme coin essentially become the first genuine altcoin, smaller project that's going to have an ETF. And so, yes, Very excited for all the Doge maxis out there, and Elon Musk, I'm assuming, is probably quite ecstatic. I don't view this as something that many people in terms of traditional finance are going to participate in, but it is just the beginning. And so there are currently, I guess there were 92, there are now 91 ETFs that are currently sitting for approval with the SEC and with all the regulatory bodies. The vast majority of those ETFs are XRP and Solana. Very, very, very small amount of them are for other altcoins, things like Doge and others. And so I think it's a really good sign we're about to see a watershed moment in terms of other ETFs being approved. But I'm happy for the Doge guys. I'm happy for them. I'm going to laugh entirely as billions of dollars flood into a Doge ETF.
That still to this day has no real value. It's just,
Never will.
I own a Dogecoin. That's all you can say, isn't it?
And it's inflationary. It's not even like you can say, hey, I own one of the 100 billion Doge. No, you own one Doge, and every minute of every day, more Doge come into existence because of the way that it is set up. And so, yeah, I don't get it. I do hold small amounts of these meme coins. You know, I have a little bit of Doge somewhere, but I don't even know how many of them I have.
That's it, isn't it? That's where we're at. And as everybody knows, whenever you got something serious that has serious uses, somebody will make something that is just crazy out there. No one has a clue, but everyone just flocks to it. And Doge is just one of those things. Right, my next story. We're jumping over to WorldCoin because WorldCoin's prices jumped 42% following 8co's announcement of first WLD Treasury strategy. Now, WorldCoin is Sam Altman. It's his baby. It's a worldwide digital ID. Now, I've managed to find out a little bit more about this because they are currently paying people in the Philippines to scan their irises and to create digital ID using biometric data. And they're paying them quite well for where it is. Elsewhere in the world, it's been banned. This is a technology that people are not happy about, and they are going to more and more third world countries. So, dare I say it? What's their game plan? I don't know. Zesta, have you got any more information on this one?
WorldCoin has been doing this for years. I think WorldCoin popped onto the stage in 2018, 2019. At least that's when I started hearing about it all the time. And yes, they want to scan your iris, and they will pay you in order to let them scan your iris. And so it has, for many, many years, it has been a raging success in third world countries because the amount of money they were offering to scan an iris was enough money, you know, it was more money than you were going to make in a month's work. And so it was working extremely well, and well, it's continuing to work extremely well. But there are huge, huge concerns with WorldCoin in regards to security and everything else. I'm not jumping on board in any form or fashion, but I do see why it's succeeding. It does make sense. They are offering you a cash payout in order to scan your biometric data. If your biometric data does not have any value to you and it has value to them, then the deal seems like a good one. But they've been on this heist, on this scheme for many, many years now. It was all the rage for a while. It's kind of died off, but it's never genuinely died. So, yeah. And I honestly, the sad thing is, they're probably pretty close to the right answer. It's probably going to end up being pretty close to what we end up seeing occur in the world at some point in time. If we look far enough out, eventually we're going to have a far more advanced version of Interpol.
Yeah.
And essentially that is what they were setting up. they're setting up their, well, what was that movie, RoboCop type deal? They're setting up that future with everything they're putting together. The ability for any camera to scan your face and have all of the necessary information to know exactly who you are.
Minority Report, that's the one.
I know, that's it. That was
Tom
the
Cruise
perfect,
walks into
yeah.
the shop and he's got fake eye things in, and they think he's a Chinese guy. And
Yeah.
they come out with this really long name. Moving swiftly on, and another story that you've brought to my attention, Zesta. So, Gemini. What do we know about Gemini?
Well, Gemini, in terms of a little bit of a background, Gemini is the one of the best US based exchanges that's been operating for a long time. But Gemini also, and I may be wrong, but I believe Gemini was also the creation of the Winklevoss twins. And so Gemini was the Winklevoss twins, who were the ones that Mark Zuckerberg stole Facebook from, but he ended up having to pay them $100 and some million on account of it. The Winklevoss twins got that $100 and some million. They bought Bitcoin with it immediately back in like 2011. They became the fastest self-made billionaires on the planet, I believe, compliments of their investment. And then they created Gemini. And so just as a bit of a background on Gemini itself, but NASDAQ invested $50 million into Gemini's crypto services. And Gemini also just partnered with XRP to provide the first XRP credit card. And so Gemini appears to be making some major, major moves. And you and I have talked about this, Paul. The difference between traditional finance and crypto, or traditional banking and cryptocurrency, those things are about to go away. It's about to become a Leviathan. And to me, this is just more and more of that process occurring. Now we're seeing the connection between the stock market and crypto. Because NASDAQ, ultimately, the NASDAQ will be on the blockchain.
Yes, very much so. And as it gets more and more integrated, you won't even see the difference. You won't even know if you're interacting with the blockchain or with traditional banking. Because I don't know about you, I'm just going to have everything set to whatever the currency is. How many Bitcoin means nothing to me. I'm going to have it set to the currency that's in my bank account, because that's what I'm spending. And I think we're going to see more and more of a blend of these financial services until there is no difference. The only thing you'll know is there'll be a disclaimer somewhere that says, just to let you know, this is all recorded on the blockchain. It'll just be like a data record. So yeah, very, very interesting what's coming. Now, we've got to talk about the risks of investing with, how do I describe it? Pump.fun, Solana meme coins, coins that when someone comes up to you and goes, I've invested in this new coin, they said it's going to revolutionize this. Take that with a pinch of salt, please. Because this crypto streamer, not the guy in the video, that's just an advert. Please don't go harass him. Crypto streamer crashes his token. He says it was literally just an accidental click. Now, as we scroll down, a cryptocurrency streamer called Gainsey said on Wednesday on X, after he appeared to have rug pulled his cryptocurrency project for $168,000. He had sold over 73% of the supply of his Pump.fun launched Solana meme coin, Gainsey Stream, crashing the token's market cap by 99% from $4 million to $12,000. I mean, his excuse was, I fiddled with my phone in my hand. And yeah, so in my eyes, he wants to make this right. Reinvest $168,000 into your meme coin. Wouldn't you? Just buy back in.
Yeah. No, I like down there. I watched in real time as he continues on. I watched in real time and go, how much is this going to cost me? That was it's a funny quote. But yeah, no, the way that liquidity charts work, essentially, he would have achieved, he could have just fixed it by clicking that phone 2 times and clicking buy with that $168,000. But it's going to remain I don't think it's honestly ever going to go away. I think there will forever be a degenerate gambling market going on in the cryptocurrency space somewhere off in the corner. Um, that I think it's just going to become something that's considered to be normal, but with more and more knowledge by the customer base, it's going to become something that I think eventually it's going to be the same idea as like we have little betting places around where people bet on horses and things like that and stuff of that nature. You know, do most people go? No. But do they still apparently make enough money to stay open as businesses? Well, yeah, because there's a lot of them. And so I think that it's going to end up filling that space
Yeah.
of being like the gambling machine in a gas station. What is it? Keno, I think is a game that people love to play in the United States. It's just going to fill the role of those things. It always will be here, but man, it's still ridiculous to see how often the rug pulls happen.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing as well is I think what it needs is the big disclaimers. You know, like warning, smoking is bad for you. Warning, gambling is bad for you. If you have a problem, please seek help. I think
Yep.
that's what we need more of. Warning, you could possibly lose your entire stake that you've put into this. And that's where I see this going. I don't think you're going to see these streamers who say they've clicked a button wrong actually go to jail. I think what you'll see is they'll just get better at telling you it's probably a scam. Why are you even bothering? That
Yeah.
sort of thing. Right, I've got a couple of quick stories here that we'll just fire through just to catch up. Um, Binance Bahrain debuts direct US banking rails, retail access in seconds. Binance Bahrain has joined forces with Singapore Gulf Bank to introduce a direct US dollar transfer service tailored for retail customers. Binance, I mean, they're banned in the UK. Are they banned in the US?
Binance is still operating with Binance US, but essentially it's a separate company. I would say that effectively Binance is not allowed in US markets.
They'll find a workaround. You can just see it, can't you? They're
Oh,
they're
yeah, absolutely.
they're not the sort of company that's just going to walk away and go, oh well, we lost that market. They'll come back at some point. My next
Yeah.
story: Kazakhstan president orders national crypto reserve creation. Now, what we've seen down in oh god, I've forgotten the country, not Brazil, is it? Uh,
Well, we've seen El Salvador.
that's it. El Salvador. They've got the Bitcoin reserve, haven't they?
Yes.
Now, we're seeing as a prime example that working. And countries are scared to hold gold just in case they get overthrown and things like that. But a nice crypto reserve is quite easy to keep safe. And countries are they not digital gold, but they're using this now as a way to prop up their economies.
Mhm.
Maybe because they can't be affected by devaluation of currencies like they would traditionally, because realistically, Bitcoin now should have dipped way below where it is if it was still following the traditional graphs, tables, whichever way you want to call it. It's still holding extremely strong, with
Yep.
no sign of it dropping anytime soon. But don't quote me on that. That's not financial advice. So why aren't we
Paul
seeing
just
more
said that the
countries?
price is going up. I
Well,
heard
why
it.
aren't we seeing more countries having crypto reserves? I think we're going to see all countries across the world will have a crypto reserve at some point, and I'm willing to stake my reputation on that. What crypto, I don't know. They'll probably all start with Bitcoin because that's the numero uno at the moment, and then they'll probably diversify as time goes on.
Hmm. Well, that one actually kind of draws me to an interesting conversation on that front because we are seeing, and I guess I'll take it to crypto adoption. We're seeing crypto adoption in certain countries, and we're seeing it at massive, massive rates. As a matter of fact, chain analysis data just came out for the year of 2024. And I think they even had a few months of 2025 inside of the data. And number one for crypto adoption remains India. Number two actually changed. We saw the United States jump into spot number two, which I definitely would argue is on account of the general Trump effect. But otherwise, if you were to take 1 through 20 as a list of crypto adoption, and you were to say, hey, let's go through the countries. All right, we got Brazil, we have Russia, we have India, we have Singapore, we have Indonesia, we have Malaysia, we have essentially no Nigeria. We essentially have a list of BRICS nations. We essentially have a long list of BRICS nations with a few random countries that are in there that are, I would argue, it's because of technology, are in the list. The United States, South Korea, those type of nations, Singapore itself, these are extremely highly technologically advanced nations. It would make sense that they would be somewhat at the forefront of adoption of a new technology. But besides them, it is a who's who of BRICS or of countries who have screwed up their financial system. And so I think that I think there's a lot that can be taken away there, Paul, not only from the strategic reserve side, but from the adoption side, because if you were really to go ahead and toss on the aluminum foil hat, you would go through that list and you would say, this is a financial civil war that is currently going on. And we are watching essentially the BRICS nations against the NATO or whatever you would like to say it, nations battling it out in terms of the financial space. And so I think I think we're going to see strategic reserves of cryptos that are built in that country. And so we're going to see kind of the way that Trump talked about. He wants the United States to become the Bitcoin mining capital. I think we're going to see that start to occur. We're going to see strategic reserves of Bitcoin everywhere, like you said. But then we're going to start seeing strategic reserves of maybe their own cryptocurrencies or who knows. But there is a serious something going on when you go through the list of crypto adoption and crypto strategic reserves, and then you take that and compare it to a list of BRICS nations.
No, I couldn't agree more. And some people would say it's almost like they're starting to level the playing field because Bitcoin, in its traditional sense, has no political ties to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Traditionally, it doesn't. I mean, we could go into centralized mining and all the rest of it. You know, there was one company that mined 6 Bitcoin blocks consecutively, which is very dangerous because that's almost a statistical impossibility. So there's lots out there that we are aware of with Bitcoin, but in its rawest form, it's got no political allegiances. There's no sanctions on Bitcoin. You know, if I want to send you half a Bitcoin now and you valued Bitcoin at whatever it is, I could send you that. There's no stopping me. There's no stopping me. And that's where I think a lot of these countries are at now. Because you've just got to look at all the sanctions and everything that's gone on in Russia, Ukraine, everything over there. But they've always found ways round of it. But somehow Canada's profited quite well out of it. USA's profited quite well out of it. Can you see how countries want direct finance access now? They do not want to go to the gatekeeper and go, please, sir, can I send some money? That's got to stop. Everybody, every country out there now has matured. This isn't dark days stuff anymore. And the world needs a level playing field. And that's why I'm a big advocate of crypto, because it does level the playing field quite a bit. It really does. And when you look at traditional banking, especially in the UK, where why do you want to draw out that £1,000? The bank's asking you. They've become massive gatekeepers to finance, which is not right in anyone's book. It's not right. And if they don't like your reason, they can say no to you. Well, it's my money. But, you know, and I sit here and I laugh how people do not believe in their own common sense anymore. They really
Mhm.
don't. You know, if you're putting your money somewhere and they can potentially say no to you, well, that
It's
can't
not
be
your
a
money.
good place to put it, is it?
Yeah. No, I think that we're suddenly getting a giant clarion call, wake up opportunity for the world where people are suddenly realizing you never actually owned anything.
No.
Ultimately, if you keep your money in a bank, it's not your money.
No.
You may think it's your money, and rightfully it should be, but it is not, and it never was. It's not your money, not your keys, not your crypto. That is an old saying in crypto that has gone back to the very beginning, and it turns out that saying, honestly, well, was should have been taken much, much further out. We have never owned anything. You have never owned a dollar in your life unless it was in your pocket. And ultimately, somebody could take it away from you. You have
Yeah.
never owned anything. No one on this planet has ever really owned anything in their lives because of the way that essentially the world had to work. There had to be a centralized authority that said so. Ultimately, the deed to my house, well, it needed to be kept at the local government office. My bank account and my money, it needed to be kept at the local bank. And who did I go to prove that I owned that money or proved that I owned that house? I went to the government or I went to the bank. It's gone. That
Yeah.
system is dying. You no longer need that. And I think that everyone is honestly in for a serious wake up
Yeah. I think
over everything.
yeah, they are. And people are waking up now. I mean, in the UK, with the banking the way it is, everybody I know now is saying I'm not putting my money in the bank unless I have to.
Hmm.
That's what they're saying now, because to put your money in in that bank with the way the economy is right now and with the way our government is, tomorrow they might turn around and say, look, we just need everybody's money in the bank. That's it. Convert it all into bonds and you can get it back in 10 years.
Hmm.
That's where we're at now, I believe, in society. So it is a bit of a daunting thing, but there are glimmers of hope out there. There really is. And crypto's one of them. You know, free truth platforms like X and others. You, the world is changing, and for crypto, it's a good change. It really is. And that brings us to the end of the show for today. Zesta, where can everybody find you?
Oh, everybody can find me over on Crazy Kryptonite on YouTube.
Fantastic. And as always, everyone can find me over on Brooker.tv. All that's left for me to say is take care, God bless, see you all soon. Bye now.
See you, everybody.